Hello, ladies, gentlemen, everyone in between and beyond. My name is Taylor. Welcome to the OverAchievers Podcast, episode 25, Mama's Boy. Now, joining me today is a very special guest, first-time guest. Please help me welcome James.
Hello, everybody. My name is James, and I'll be talking about the Binding of Isaac.
God, you're so formal.
I don't know, what do you want me to say? Hey,
just
hello,
be you,
everybody.
man.
I mean, my when I was doing texting with my friends a few years ago, I would eat lunch with them, and I would text them with proper punctuation. I'm just weird like that. I don't know.
I mean, I text with proper punctuation too. That doesn't mean I talk like that.
I talk with proper punctuation. I got I dot my I's. I don't actually dot my I's. I'm bad at that.
Also, I'm older than you, and I don't even say I was doing the texting.
Oh, I just misspoke. Sorry. I was gonna say something else, and then I realized as I was speaking that I don't want to say it like that, and then I just ended up sounding like a 50-year-old boomer or something. So that's...
Dude, have you not listened to any of the podcasts I've done up until now?
I mean, the thing is just I don't know how to introduce myself. I've always struggled.
Just be like, hey, I'm James. What's up? I mean, whatever you're comfortable with. It's just you sound so uncomfortable.
Not really uncomfortable. Just, hey, everybody, my name's James. Is that better?
Oh, that just feels forced. I don't like that.
I don't know. I'm not exactly the most emotive person. It's the thing.
That's fair. All right. Well, we'll move on. Okay, so, James.
Yo.
What game are you going to be talking about today?
All right, so I'm talking about a little-known, very hidden indie gem called The Binding of Isaac, specifically Repentance. Repentance came out a few years ago, 2021, I believe. Although, the base game Binding of Isaac Rebirth came out in 2014. So I've been playing it for a while.
Okay, so just to clarify, because I'm still confused about this, what is the difference between, say, Repentance and Rebirth?
All right, so basically, I'll just say it right now because I was going to mention it later for the how long you've been playing. But there was way back when in 2012 or something, there was a Flash game that came out, and then after that, there was a DLC that came out for that Flash game. So the first original game was called The Binding of Isaac. The DLC for that one was called The Wrath of the Lamb.
Okay.
And then after that came out this remade, very nice, polished game called The Binding of Isaac Repentance. That one overhauled the engine. It was no longer made in Flash, so you could run at 60 FPS instead of 30. And it wouldn't lag if you looked at it for too long.
Okay, fair.
And then after that, there were a few DLC that were released. So after Rebirth came Afterbirth. After Afterbirth came Afterbirth Plus. And then after that came Repentance. So to play Repentance, you have to have all of the DLC. So you'll have all of that content.
Jesus Christ, that's so complicated. Little known fact, I also lag if you stare at me for too long.
Fair. We all lag.
Okay, so when did you start playing this game exactly? And not Repentance, but The Binding of Isaac at its core. When did you start playing that?
So I started playing The Binding of Isaac. So I used to be in band, and we had this really shitty old band computer in the back. It was in the library. It was a little separated room where all the sheet music was stored. And I ended up being friends with a couple of the people that ran it, and then a couple of the hooligans that would also loiter in the area. And they introduced me to one of the only games that ran on the computer, which was The Binding of Isaac: Wrath of the Lamb. They had just pulled it on a flash drive and installed it on that computer.
Damn. Okay then.
And that was in 2014, something like that.
I mean, to be fair, I've heard worse this one time at band camp stories.
I mean, Out of all of them, this is probably the most life-altering decision. So, like, that's
Okay.
I've been playing Isaac for way too long. So it was 2014. No, not 2014. 2013, 2014. When Rebirth came out, I bought that game like on launch, and I've been playing on and off ever since. I took a hiatus between once, like in college. Once I reached like junior year, I kind of stopped playing for a bit, and then once I was in my master's, I started playing again. So I took like a 3-year break in between there.
Damn. All right then. So okay, how many? And I know the answer to this question is stupid. How many achievements does this game have?
This game has 637 total achievements from
God, that hurts.
Yeah, from base game up through Repentance. All of those were like some of them were added over time. And
do you want to know the average of like how many achievements the games that I normally cover have?
How many? What's the average?
50. 50.
I mean, I think that's a more reasonable amount than 637. 637 is sometimes I like wonder why I did that to myself.
I wonder too. And to break it down for the audience, the base game of Rebirth has 178 achievements. The Afterbirth expansion DLC, whatever you want to call it, has 86 achievements. Afterbirth Plus has 139 achievements. And Repentance gave it an additional 237 achievements. So each one of these is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, to be fair, there is a lot of content. Like, a lot of, especially in, like, the DLC, the Repentance achievements were all really unique. It basically doubled the size of the game. Repentance was huge.
That's insane. So, just for the audience at home, those who have never played Binding of Isaac, I just want to clarify, this is, as far as I understand it, a roguelite? Or roguelike, whichever one.
Yeah. Like, you can just say it's a roguelite, because you can unlock, like, characters and stuff, but it's not like you get stat upgrades, necessarily.
Yeah, so there is a form of meta progression, but not the typical one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Although,
fair.
Honestly, like, Binding of Isaac came out before, like, that roguelite distinction. They just still, like, called it roguelike. And then some people started arguing about it because it doesn't really look like rogue. It's not ASCII and stuff. So. Oh, and actually, one thing that I do want to like mention before we get like into the bulk of it, just like a quick trigger warning, I guess, for the audience. This game does delve into some kind of dark topics. Like there's stuff about suicide and like child abuse and religious abuse, all that stuff. It's not exactly the happiest game. The main character.
That is fair. I will. Yeah. I'll probably make a warning and just put it at the beginning.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a good thing to take note of. That's fair.
Yeah. The main character, Isaac, is like his main form of attack is tears. He's just crying on people. So.
Sounds like someone we know at work.
Hey.
Not gonna use their name.
But yeah, like there's that. There's like just. I mean, the Binding of Isaac, the whole, is, like, based on the biblical story, right? Like, Abraham heard the voice of God saying, like, hey, kill your kid, and then that's kind of how the game starts. Like, you're trying to run away from your mom that is trying to kill you because she thinks she heard the voice of God, so...
And the voice of God said you got an F on your math test?
No, it's more of like the voice of God said, clothes are sinful and he's still drawing on the walls and all of his crayons are sinful and he is going to go to hell unless you kill him. So it's not exactly the most bright story. Yay.
Well, I tried to lighten the mood, but damn, okay.
Yeah.
No, continue, go ahead.
No. It's just like, I just wanted to like, before I forget and like before I get like into the actual talk about the actual gameplay. Just wanted to mention the darkness within the game.
Fair. Okay. So now, normally I would ask someone, "Hey, is this your first? Like, did you go into the game with the intention of getting all achievements, or did you go back afterwards?" So I kind of want to modify that. Did you go into each DLC or expansion with the intentions of getting all achievements, and did you like knock out a DLC's achievements and then move on to the next one, or was it kind of just you happened to get them?
So I actually did not buy Afterbirth Plus on launch. I had Rebirth and I got Afterbirth as well. But Afterbirth Plus, I didn't really like the direction that DLC was taking. And I'm not gonna blame Edmund McMillan. He's like the developer. I'm not gonna blame him because he's been working on the game for 10 years, or like 5-6 years, and there was like
That's a long time.
And there was stuff like going on in his own personal life, so I'm not gonna be like, oh wow, what a piece of shit. But just I wasn't really like satisfied with that. So I didn't. In general, I didn't really plan to get all achievements. When I was playing Rebirth and Afterbirth, I played... I don't remember exactly how many hours I played, but I didn't really like play aiming for like getting all achievements. They were just, I'm gonna try like playing this character. I just enjoyed the roguelite aspect of it. Just booting up a run after school, like 1 or 2 hours, just play, relax, put off doing homework, stuff like that.
Yes.
So I would not really like plan to get achievements. There were some that I was like, yes, I really want to get this, but some of the more challenging ones I really didn't have any like plan to get it really.
Okay. So this is a question you're not gonna be able to answer. How many runs do you think you've done?
Oh Lord, all fucking mighty. Ah, boy. It's probably on the order of like 2,000 at least.
That's less than I would expect.
At least. I mean, if we're assuming each run is about an hour. But like some run, or like let's assume it's like each run is about 45 minutes. Because some runs do go way faster, and some runs are just an outright, like it goes to round 12 with RNGesus, like you're struggling. So let's just say like 45 minutes to an hour. And I've played, at this point I've played over 1,000 hours, but not by much. When I had got all achievements, I got them all in 999.8 hours on Steam. So
how did you not sorry, how did you not make it 999.9?
I know,
like come on, man.
I was aiming to like do it under 1,000 hours, and I was like really worried, but I was also doing a run with a really cursed character that makes it very easy to blow up your gameplay time.
All right then.
I'll mention it later because I think there's, that character is definitely an experience.
Okay, good to know. So I just did some quick maths using the computer. 999 hours is 41.6 days. It's quite literally over a month and almost a month and a half, like straight 24 hours of game time.
I don't think I needed to know that information. I don't think I want to know that information. I want to scrub my brain of that.
That is absolutely a record. Like this episode is going to set records for this podcast.
I hope I don't like take too long talking. I'll just speed run all of this.
No, that's fine. Don't. No, like, dude, I've had 2.5 hour episodes. Don't worry about that. It's not going to be that long.
All right.
So have you, outside of like, just refreshing your memory for the podcast and kind of getting footage for what you folks at the home are seeing on screen, have you returned to the game just like in a casual manner since you got the all achievements?
So, honestly, like after I got all achievements, I tried like one of the really nice things about Isaac is it does have like a really strong modding community.
Mm-hmm.
So I tried to like download some of those mods, try to like change and like try playing different ways. But frankly, after grinding for let's say like 400 to 600 hours of repentance alone, I was kind of burnt out. That being said, even as like I started playing recently and like to get that footage, I have been getting the itch,
Oh no.
The addiction. It's like, I don't know. It's always a fight, right? That's what they say, I think. I don't know. I've never been to Alcoholics Anonymous or anything. Yeah, I've been feeling the itch, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna keep battling it, because it's an addicting game.
PSA, if you're feeling an itch, please go see a doctor.
At least here they're pretty cheap, so that's pretty nice.
Yes.
If you're in the U.S., like maybe wait a few months, and maybe you'll be dead, and you won't have to pay the bill anymore.
Jesus Christ.
That's been my mentality this whole time I was in the States. I was like, oh, my shoulder hurts. I guess I'm going to die.
I mean, yeah, I don't really blame you. U.S. healthcare is probably about as horrifying as this game in terms of theme. So, okay, I want to get back to that 999 for a second.
Okay.
How many hours do you have currently now?
Currently, I'm at like 1,020. Yeah, 1,020. So
so you didn't put in a lot,
Yeah.
but you put in a bit. Just like an almost extra day.
Yeah, like a normal person. Very, very.
Okay, so I was looking up how long to beat Binding of Isaac Repentance. This says for completionist, average is 644 hours and 14 minutes. Median is 560 hours. Rushed is 383 hours, which these numbers are insane to me. When rushed is almost 400 hours.
Yeah.
Leisure is 1,400 hours.
Yeah.
What is this game?
Part of the reason my time got so inflated was because the time I played in Rebirth and stuff as well. Like I wasn't really chasing achievements, but that time still got logged, so that got added on. But yeah,
No, that's very fair.
The thing though is like there really are a lot of achievements, and we'll probably talk about this a little bit more later, but a lot of them really do feel really rewarding, and there's just so much stuff to like learn about the game.
Okay.
Like the reason it's so easy to put so much time into it is as of Repentance, there's 716 items and 127 trinkets, and then there's even more consumables. So like
God.
all of those combinations really make most runs really unique. They really change the way you play, they change the way you approach the game, and then just that plus the generation of all the maps get different. All of that stuff really makes it easy to play the game over and over and over again.
That's insane. The more I hear about this game, just the less I believe this could be actually fun, and I could definitely never do it personally, but I have more respect for you as a result.
I have I'll send you like a screen cap of a message I sent to some of my friends when I was grinding for a couple of achievements, and I don't know. You can use that as a thumbnail or something, or include it in the thumbnail or something. It's just me complaining about the game, and you'll see an amazing lose streak.
Okay, though. Depending on what the screen cap is, I put it in the video. Probably in the thumbnail. We'll figure it out. This is going to be a hard one. I think all these questions are going to be hard for you to answer. What was the hardest and easiest achievement for you?
Okay.
You can pick like let's say up to 5, given
Okay.
that you have literally 10 times more than the average person.
Okay. So let's see. So first of all, for the hardest, there's a few achievements that I'm just not even gonna like consider talking about too much, just because like
Okay.
one of them or two of them are just like get every other achievement and then pick up every item. So like
Okay.
obviously if you pick up all the items, you have all the achievements. Those are just achievements on their own. And then there are a couple of achievements that you don't even realize you get, like, oh, I died so many times that I got an achievement. Yay. Or like I've restarted the run so many times.
Yeah.
In terms of easiest and hardest, some of the I'll talk about like some that I guess kind of changed the way I like kind of differed from my expectations. So one of them was like this one challenge run called what was it called? Pika run. So Pika is like a Pika or Pika, I don't know. Is this like disease where you're just kind of obsessed with eating random stuff.
Okay.
So the way this run would work is you couldn't pick up any items, but there are these things that you can pick up from the ground called trinkets. And in the normal game, you can only equip 1 or maybe 2 if you have like something special, like 1 or 2 trinkets at a time. And the trinkets can range from being completely useless to being something like curved horn, which gives you +2 damage, which is really significant, or something like cancer with a little
Lovely.
Yeah, the tagline says "Yay cancer," so there you go.
Oh God.
Which can actually like go over the tier cap, so it's both of those items are really broken. But again, you can only have like one of them, so you can't really like have both curved horn and cancer. So the thing with this Pika run, is I thought, oh, this is going to be really challenging because, no items and you can only have trinkets. But the thing is, anytime you picked up a trinket, it would be added as a permanent item if you took damage.
Oh,
so you would
God,
intentionally take damage to make yourself like stronger and have more trinket space. And the other thing is there are some trinkets that don't really change like your stats, but change the way the tiers work. So they'll like change the tier path, and then those are like the worm trinkets. I don't know why they're called the worm. Well, it's because they're all worms. It's like ringworm, tapeworm, whatever.
oh, lovely.
Yeah, again, very, very like Sunshine and Rainbows game. But this, I thought it would be really difficult, but about 10 minutes into the run, I have this super wacky run where I do like a bunch of damage. My tiers are flying around randomly. I like walk in and suddenly there's like a tier a million miles away from me. And it went from being like a super like, oh, I'm kind of worried about this run, to being really easy, but also like really fun. There was just stuff that you wouldn't get to see normally, and the unlock was pretty nice.
Okay.
That one was pretty fun. Easiest achievements. What other achievement was really easy? There was. So this game also has 34 characters.
Okay.
And some of them are like pretty straightforward and like similar. But one of them is a character called Tainted Lilith. Oh God, this is gonna be even darker, isn't it? Fuck.
Oh, probably.
Okay, well, Tainted Lilith attacks with a fetus.
Okay. Fantastic.
Yeah, so like she basically opens up her stomach and the fetus shoots out and it does damage, but also the fetus can cry. Normal things that come out of a normal person's brain.
Absolutely.
But one of the really fun things about that character is, at first I thought that would be like a really challenging character because it's relatively short range, but honestly, it's kind of really fun to play that character. It feels very much like, I don't know, Alien or something, or like it's just like bursting out and just like attacking things. So it was the achievements that were around that character, so beating all the bosses and stuff, were surprisingly enjoyable.
Okay.
Despite the theming, but
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
at this point, like, my brain is kind of callous to certain things like that. As for the hardest achievements, oh dear God. Probably, so one of the characters is called the Lost, and then that character.
Oh, it's like a little ghost kid, right?
Yeah, it's a little ghost. So the Lost can only take one hit per room.
Okay.
And he can do that because he has something called the Holy Mantle, which like protects him, right? It's a protection from God, yay.
Yeah.
But then there's another character, like it's a harder version of it, called the Tainted Lost. And the funny thing about the Tainted Lost is, instead of having an item called the Holy Mantle, he has this consumable. He spawns with a consumable called not the blank card. I'm blanking on the name. Blank card is the item that you want on the Tainted Lost. Tainted Lost. Starts with the Holy Card, of course, clearly. The Holy Card, which basically gives you the Holy Mantle effect until you get hit, and then you just don't have anything. If you get hit without Holy Mantle, you die. You just get one shot.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
That does sound rough. How do you get the Holy Mantle then?
So the Holy Mantle is like a special item that you can find. It's really rare, and it can show up in these little rooms called the Angel Rooms. One thing that is extra difficult for the Tainted Lost is something that generally makes him better is he can't get any like defensive or like health upgrades. Unfortunately, the Holy Mantle item is a defensive item, so he can't get it. So the only way he can get that effect is through the Holy Card, which is a really rare drop that you can get from rooms. And like, if you're like, there's one item that you can get called the Blank Card, which will basically just simulate that card use. But that one's again, it's with 700 items. It's kind of, you're not guaranteed to get it.
It's rare to say the least.
But you might get like a few drops, maybe like 4 or 5, if you have a really long run. And with the Tainted Lost, so with every character you have to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think it's 12 end games basically. Like, you have to beat 12 specific bosses. And one of the hardest ones is Delirium. And the thing with Delirium is... Do you want a quick lore about Delirium, by the way?
Yeah, go for it.
Delirium is like the manifestation of Isaac's psyche as he's about to die. So...
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, great. So the thing about this boss, because it is Delirium, it's him basically reliving the bosses that he's fought, like all the things that he's seen. So the boss can turn into basically every other boss, and it's just a constant bullet hell. The other really nice thing about the boss, which is one of the issues I have with the game in general, is that Delirium can sometimes telefrag you. So, it'll be like, there's a certain attack that can be like animation canceled by the boss and just immediately slam you and like do damage to you. And besides all of that and like being a bullet hell, it's a long fight. The boss itself is tanky. He has like a thing called boss armor, so he won't he'll have more health based on how much damage you do, basically.
Oh.
So that achievement was one that I was really, really dreading to do.
Yeah, that sounds awful.
So I go in, I have like the Holy Mantle effect, but I did not have another card on me.
Yeah.
And which is terrifying. You go in, and the boss fight starts, and pretty early on, I just get telefragged. And
oh no.
I'm super nervous, right? And the thing is, I had a really high damage run.
Okay.
So what I had was something called piercing, so just like it'll go through. It won't like just end when it hits the first hitbox, it'll go through. And then I had another item called Holy Light, which will, based on just like random luck, you can increase your luck chance, but based on luck, it'll call down like a strike from God, basically, to do a bunch of damage in that area. And it can hit multiple enemies.
Yeah.
So this one wasn't hard because like this one was going to be very hard, but I got very, very, very lucky because what happened is he turned into into a guy called Larry Jr., who's a little worm. But that little worm has like 10 segments, and each segment has its own hitbox. So if you hit him like head on and you have piercing, that piercing shot will hit all of the segments. And it just so happened that my piercing, all of the shots that hit every one of the segments also procced Holy Light. So he just immediately took 1 billion damage or something. And
oh my god.
Luckily, I was able to beat him without too much struggle. But if I hadn't gotten that lucky, I would have lost my mind.
Okay.
Because there was this other boss.
Oh no.
Or not boss. Well, other boss, but also another character that I would argue is even harder than Tainted Lost, called Jacob and Esau.
Yeah.
The way Jacob and Esau work is that you have basically two characters with they each get their own items. They can each shoot their own independent tiers, but you control them with one set of controls. You only have WASD and arrow keys. And, yeah, and they're not like bound. They're not like stuck together, so they can get separated.
And you have to. So just so I'm clear, you have to move them independently. One with WASD and one with the arrow keys.
So shooting happens with the arrow keys, and WASD is the movement for both characters. So when you enter into a room, they'll be like next to each other. Mm-hmm. But if, for example, you bump into a wall, they might get separated. And then if you hold control, you can also like make one of them stand still if you want to do that. So there's like a little bit of interesting gameplay there. But the thing that makes that character really difficult is the fact that they can get separated. Because if they do get separated, it's almost guaranteed that you're going to be taking damage. Like putting them, like reconnecting them is how you want to be able to play the game. Because otherwise you have two hitboxes that are separate, kind of like hanging out on other sides. And each one having their own independent health. If one of them dies, both of you, like, you just lose the run.
Okay.
So all of that makes it difficult, and then if they are together, you basically have a double white hitbox. So that makes it. Okay. He's just challenging overall, but he does get a lot of damage just from the fact that he can have two characters shooting at once, and you generally get twice as many items. So there's other ways that the character is balanced. But what happened is, sometimes certain shots from enemies can like stagger you or like knock you back a little bit, or certain like enemies can just kind of like bump into you and separate out the two characters, which makes it really difficult to control them. So this one boss fight was called the fight with Mother.
Okay.
And I'll just say it as well. This boss is found in an area, like in a floor called the Corpse. So.
Oh, lovely. Okay.
Yep, exactly. Very, very happy game. So in this boss fight against Mother, basically Mother's corpse,
Yeah.
you're trying to deal with a lot of bullet hell, but she also spawns a lot of enemies.
Okay.
And sometimes there are enemies that are also attacking you during the bullet hell, so it's very difficult to deal with that
Lovely.
boss. What ended up happening
Yeah.
is on that run, I got an item called the Dead Cat. Wow, this is just like, I keep saying things and then I realize like, wait a second, this is kind of dark.
Just a little bit.
A little bit, tiny bit. So the Dead Cat is a very interesting item. For what it's worth, it's based on the developers like Old Cat called Guppy.
Okay.
So the Dead Cat is an item that basically, if you die, you'll respawn up to 9 times, because cats have 9 lives.
9 lives. Yeah.
The thing about it, the thing that makes it really difficult, is when you respawn, you only have 1 health.
Okay.
And in the corpse, everything does 1 damage at the very least.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, or actually no, fortunately, at that time there was a bug with the Dead Cat.
Oh no. Oh no.
No, this is the kind of good part. If you picked it up with Esau,
okay,
you would get infinite respawns. It wasn't just 9; it was as many as 1. Yeah. However, you still have that caveat that you spawn with only 1 health. So, I go into this fight with Mother. I have a bunch of health. I'm confident. I die. Fear not, though. I have Dead Cat.
Oh, yep. Okay.
But when I respawn, I realize it's not just Esau that has 1 health. Jacob also has 1 health.
Oh no.
Yeah. So now what I have is a double wide hitbox, and I die in 1 hit.
Yeah.
So spent about, I wish I still had the recording. I'm so sad that some of those recordings were lost, just because like I uploaded some of the clips to Discord, but they've been deleted because of like software.
Just over time.
Yeah. So that fight I did probably around 30 times, because if I got hit once, I had to restart the fight from the very beginning.
Oh god.
But the crazy thing is, I actually managed to beat Mother, again a very difficult boss with some really challenging attacks, without taking any damage whatsoever. I was...
Oh, what?
Yeah, I was able... I'll see if I can get some footage of the Mother fight, so you can like include it here.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that was such a challenging fight because, again, like, it's a bullet hell with really a wide hitbox. It's not really designed to be a bullet hell done with like 2 characters at once.
Yeah.
And being able to do that, I just felt like I was the greatest. I was a god gamer after I did that. I took the day off from Isaac after that because I was just Woo, boy. I was like doing it with one of my friends. Like I was in a Discord call with my friends, and they were watching, and they were like, "Man, you got this. You got okay. Now this next run, it's gonna happen." But then when I finally did it, we were just like, "Oh my God, you're the greatest gamer of all time." It was pretty exciting.
Nice.
It was
Nice.
but it was still such an exhausting endeavor, as you can probably imagine.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. That's rough.
That one's probably the single most difficult thing I did.
Okay.
in Isaac.
That's absolutely fair.
Like, even though I was exploiting a bug, but I think it balances out by the fact that I was able to do it no hit. So.
Yeah, that's yikes. Okay, so that was a hell of a tale. I gotta ask though, what was the most and least fun like for you generally? Like, is it because these ones you sound pretty invested in these ones, and if these are not like your most fun, I will be amazed.
So I made sure to not I tried to not repeat achievements when I was like kind of like planning about stuff like this.
Yeah.
So in terms of least fun, probably like most of the Jacob and Esau achievements in general were really unfun.
Okay.
Because again, getting separated was a death sentence. There was one that I went in with like max health on both characters, and I only beat it with 1 health on both characters.
Yeah.
So I got hit like 20 times against this one boss called the Beast. And before the Beast starts, one short story about the Beast, I guess. Before the Beast starts, there's a part where you fight the Super Harbingers. And the Harbingers are, if you've ever read the Bible or something, in the Book of Revelations, there's the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. So you have famine, pestilence, war, and death.
Yeah.
And I was really struggling with that fight in general. But one thing that was really crazy about that fight, I think, was Jacob and Esau for me did get separated again. But I managed to so as I mentioned, you can hold control to keep one in the same place. So I managed to space them correctly so that they could both simultaneously dodge, even though they were not right next to each other. And that was probably one of the smartest things I've ever been able to do in the game, just in middle of combat. So that one was really challenging for me. But also, oh my God, that was awful. I hate Jacob and Esau. What else? What was another one that I just really didn't like? I was going to talk about this a little bit later, but one of them that was really frustrating. There were 2 that were really... No, I'll talk about those later. But there was this other achievement where... I don't know if this was my least favorite or one of the most incredible moments. There was one achievement where you basically have all of the curses in the game. So curses basically make the game a bit more difficult. So for example, you cannot see your health. You cannot see what items you're picking up. Once you pick them up, you know what they are, but before you do, you don't know. It's a challenge called Ultra Hard. All the rooms are all the things are as big as possible. All the maps are as big as possible, and you get teleported around randomly, so it's impossible to navigate. Great time. I made this was a bit of a skill issue, because one thing that I did was I ended up going into a curse room, And the curse room in particular has a specific set of items that you can find, and one of them is Dead Cat, which, as I mentioned, resets your health to 1. So in ultra hard, what you want to do is just accumulate as much health as possible. Like,
oh man, okay.
Because there is also no like health pickups, so you want to just like basically pick up health ups.
Yeah.
So I was at the full 12, but then I picked up Dead Cat, so it brought me back down to 1, and I'm just like, oh. So that was a skill issue, me picking up Dead Cat, and I'm just like, oh, we're fucked. We're gonna lose this run. It's impossible now. But I managed to end up having a lot of bombs just through items, which is really lucky, because this was also one of those achievements that I did on call with my friends, and they were like, no, James, you got this. It's still possible. You can still win this. And I'm like, dude, I don't believe. And they're like, dude, you gotta play it out. I'm like, okay, fine. So one of the things that you can do is there's a secret room and a super secret room, and those don't show up on the map at all. There's no real way to know where they are, but there's a few things, like a few map generation tricks that you can use to figure out where the super secret room is and where the secret room is. The secret room is generally easier because it has to border at least 2 rooms, so that makes it findable. The super secret room can only border 1 room. It's a maximum of 1. So what I ended up doing is I got simultaneously a little bit lucky, but also like I guess just some of my own skill at finding the one super secret room. And in the super secret room, it was actually the most insane thing, because my friend was watching me and he's like, you're gonna get raw liver. Raw liver is just +3 health, full health. Fantastic.
Okay.
It's insane, right? So it would bring me up from 1 to 4, which would be enough for me to win. And he's like, okay, James, it's literally just right here. Like, you're gonna get raw liver, you're gonna bomb the secret room, you're gonna get raw liver, and you're gonna win the game. And I'm like, I do not believe. But I was still like, okay, we have to try, because this is a really hard achievement to do. And I was literally 2 rooms away from finishing it.
Oh my god.
So I did not want to stop. Like, I had already... The worst part about it was I had already beaten Satan, and all I needed to do was go to the next floor, go into the boss room, and finish the challenge.
Oh.
But I got greedy and I decided to explore the map for some reason. But when I and I ended up picking up but then I got that raw liver.
Yeah.
Like, I bombed the secret room, get that raw liver, and we're all just losing our minds. We're like, oh my god, the dream is real. We're gonna make it. Off of that, I was able to beat the ultra hard challenge. That was...
Okay.
But honestly, that challenge took a lot of effort. Just because you have to get really lucky with the items. And... one thing that you do a lot in that challenge is you want to get this item called placenta.
Okay.
And placenta is a +1 health, but also every 30 seconds or a minute, I don't remember the number exactly.
Okay.
You'll heal half a heart.
Oh, that's pretty good. That's really good, actually.
It's really good in a game mode where you're not gonna get any hearts from the ground. But it also means that you're just going to be sitting around for 10, 15 minutes if you're low health, trying to get back up to top health. And it's like, it's so boring.
Oh.
And then you have to, keep track of your health in your mind the entire run as well.
You
have to know exactly how much you have at all times. So that was just such a... like, I'd argue it was pretty miserable. Like, sure, it came with a nice, exciting story, which is, you know, like, I know this is a question later on, but that is partly why I would recommend the game to certain people. But, and it is just such an exhausting, tiring achievement. That one was pretty bad. Other than that, there was a couple of achievements that are actually relatively easy for most people. I struggled a lot with getting to boss rush with Maggie. So for boss rush, you have to finish 6 floors in under 20 minutes. Like the first 6 floors in under 20 minutes, which is generally doable, but she starts with less health and she's not super fun for me. So I just really struggled getting through that 20-minute mark.
Okay.
And the blue baby achievements were all frustrating. He's just such a bad character.
All right then.
Blue baby
So
is.
what makes him a bad character though? So because I don't, I know little bits, not too much.
So usually, like, a good run is gonna have. You start off the game usually with 2.54 damage, if I remember correctly. Blue Baby starts off with 2.56, 2.57, which feels like an insult because it's a marginal amount more. It's a 1.01 multiplier on your damage. So that already tilts me just knowing that he's like that.
Yeah, that's
he does not shoot faster. He does not do anything particularly better. But also, instead of having red hearts, the only type of health he can have are soul hearts,
I
which
see where this is going.
A much rarer type of health. So that's just also really frustrating to deal with, especially because in Repentance, soul heart drops got nerfed significantly. And the other thing is he starts off with an item called the Poop, which spawns poop.
Lovely.
And that's the item. You can break the poop, and sometimes there's a coin in there, or sometimes there's a red heart, and then you're like, oh, great, thank you. I'm so glad that you dropped me a red heart so that I cannot use it. There's just... It just...
Fun.
Like, the entire character... I know it's a challenge character, but it just feels like a kick in the shins of a challenge character. It's like, haha, I just, like, gave you the worst possible things, and it's not super fun. I don't know. I just found him boring and kind of insulting as a character. But again, only like 1 out of 34, basically.
Yeah, that's okay. Okay, so I have a question that's honestly just specific for this game. What do you think is the weirdest achievement? Because I have some that I want to talk about and ask you about just in general, and they are out there in terms of the description and what they're asking you to do.
Weirdest achievement? Oh boy. I can talk about a couple of really weird types of achievements to get. Let me just look through the achievements that I've gotten, because a lot of them are just like, either complete a challenge or beat something with a specific character.
Yeah, so there is one I wanted to ask about. It's called The Parasite. The achievement description is collect 2, quote, dead items. Now, the dead items in question can be Bob's rotten head, dead cat, Max's head, or Tammy's head. And you have to collect 2 in the same playthrough.
Wait.
What the hell's with the severed heads?
Wait, Max's head?
That's what it says in the description, or in the like the wiki thing I pulled it from.
Max's head is old. It's now called Cricket's head.
Okay.
Which still does not answer the question about why there are so many dead things in the game. They're like Isaac's dead pets, and I don't really know who Bob is.
Oh my god.
Bob, there's a couple other things with Bob. There's like Bob's head, rotten head. There's Bob's rotten brain. I think there's Bob's bladder.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few other weird things.
That's really weird.
Cricket's head is fantastic, though. It's a 1.5x damage multiplier, so absolutely
Jesus
based.
Christ.
And you even get a plus 0.5 damage up before it, so it's such a good item.
Also, I wanted to talk about Guppy's hairball. So I understand that Guppy was the developer's cat.
Yes.
How do you turn Isaac into the cat?
You have to get 3 Guppy items. So Guppy items are going to be things like dead cat, Guppy's head, Guppy's tail, Guppy's hairball.
And what happens when you turn into Guppy?
Oh, Guppy's great. You have flying, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And you have... Oh, probably because Guppy's dead. Oh, I didn't realize. And then the other thing is every time you hit an enemy with one of your tiers, you spawn a little friendly fly. And the reason that's so nice is those friendly flies do 1.5x your damage.
Damn, okay.
So if you have like a really high tier rate or like a lot of damage, honestly, being Guppy is basically a game run winner.
Okay.
Like you're basically guaranteed to win at that point, because you'll just make flies. Those flies can do the work for you, and if you build up your little halo of flies all the time, you can basically kill every enemy in a room before you even have to shoot. If you build up your...
Oh, fascinating. Okay.
So Guppy is really good.
Okay. There are 3 I wanted to ask about that. I want to know between these 3 which is the most annoying. One is called Generosity. Donate 999 coins to the greedy donation machine. Okay. There is Stopwatch. Donate 999 coins to the regular donation machine. And there is Sin Collector, which is collect every entry in the bestiary.
The bestiary was actually really easy because you just kind of come across all the items over time. It's all the enemies over time. It's actually not too challenging. Stopwatch takes some time, but as soon as you said Generosity, I was just like, I don't know if you could hear it, but I just like sighed and I looked away and I'm just like, oh god, that.
I take it this is a rough one.
Okay, so the Greed donation machine is a donation machine. There's a special game mode called Greed.
Okay.
And the harder version called Greedier.
Yeah.
And the way that game mode works is you get coins, and instead of going room to room, it's just like in that room a bunch of enemies will spawn, and you have to clear out 8 to 10 waves of enemies, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And then the really nice thing is you can use those coins to buy items from a shop that just restocks items constantly. So you can, honestly, it's really easy to break the game, especially in Greedier. And by breaking the game, basically what that means is you have every single item in the game in a single run.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That sounds like a lot.
It's usually time consuming, and I've done it. I'm not the biggest fan of it. I've done it a few times. I know one of my friends really likes breaking the game. I'm just like, dude, I cannot be bothered to. Anyway, we're getting like sidetracked from that. The important Greedier. So the problem with the donation Generosity, I had forgotten. Like, I'd blocked that from my memory. Oh my god.
Yeah.
The issue is, what you want to do to be able to donate is you have to have coins, right? So that means that you have to save up coins throughout the run. So you have to balance out, like spending money to get upgrades, but then you also have to balance out saving money so that you can donate. And you have to like make sure you keep in mind the fact that the Ultra Greed, the boss, can steal some of your money if you get hit.
Oh no.
So all of that is just like all of that's frustrating in a way, but it's also kind of fun to keep in mind that balancing act.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is you only get the greed donation machine at the end of a run.
Oh.
So it takes a while. It's like even to
Yeah.
get to the donation, you have to spend time. Whereas like stopwatch, if you really want to grind for stopwatch, you can just only ever donate to the donation machine, and it'll take a bit of time, but it's not the worst.
Mm-hmm.
But then the other thing about generosity is the donation machines, both greedier and normal, can jam. So what that means is each coin that you donate has a chance to jam the machine, and then you can't donate anymore. So the other thing is in greedier in particular, the chance goes up the more you've donated with that specific character to encourage you to try with different characters.
Huh.
The problem is oftentimes the characters that are the fastest to clear greed mode with then end up jamming earlier and earlier. And it has happened to literally every person who has played Isaac and gotten that achievement, that they had 99 coins and it jammed on the first 10, on one of the first 10. So,
oh no.
So you just end the run with like 80 coins in your bank and you're like, oh, well, me, I guess. We just wasted like 20 minutes to donate 10 coins.
Oh my god. Okay, but it is like a collective thing at least, so like every run. Okay.
But Jesus fucking Christ, that one's just every one of the greed machine unlocks is pretty rough. In fact, the Lost Starts with the Holy Mantle is a greed machine unlock.
Oh.
Because if you don't do that, you do not have, like, the Lost just does not have the Holy Mantle, so you just get killed in one hit. So you have to play that.
Oh, fantastic. Oh my god, that's awful. Oh jeez, I did not mean to open up this can of worms, but I'm okay with it. Because I'm not the one suffering.
Yeah. That was definitely, Lord.
Okay, so I was looking on Steam here, and it looks like the rarest achievement is called Dead End. Now I gotta look up the description for this because it's not telling me what that means. Does that ring a bell?
Dead God?
Sorry, Dead God, not Dead End.
Yeah, Dead God is basically you have gotten all achievements and you've picked up every single item.
Okay, what about Death Certificate?
Death Certificate is the last unlock you get, and that's for getting every other achievement before it.
Oh, God. What about,
Torn Card?
Esau Jr.?
Esau Jr. Esau Jr. is with a really interesting character. So you have to unlock it with Tainted Jacob. So instead of being Jacob and Esau, there's like a dark, twisted version of Jacob and Esau called Tainted Jacob. And it's actually I actually really like that character. I know a lot of people struggle with him a lot, but Tainted Jacob is very unique. So as soon as you get into a floor, you have, like, for the first 30 seconds, that floor is fine, normal, whatever. But after the 30-second, I think it's 30 seconds, maybe it's 20 seconds. After that amount of time passes, a rift in the ground spawns, and out comes Esau Jr.
Okay.
Not Esau Jr., just Esau, like the ghost of Esau.
Okay.
Dark Esau is, I think, what the community's called him. So if you know the story of Jacob and Esau, basically Jacob ends up not betraying, but tricking Esau into giving up his birthright. So now Esau is really angry at Jacob for betraying him.
Yeah.
Dark Esau does a lot of damage to enemies. And the other interesting thing is he charges at you constantly. He's always he's floating around. He can charge from across rooms. Like, he's always following you, and he can do a bunch of damage to enemies. So that's really cool. There's an item that Tainted Jacob starts with called Anima Sola. And Anima Sola is basically you can lock Dark Esau in place for a few seconds, and then if you activate it again, it releases him immediately, and he'll just charge. So all of those things make your Dark Esau buddy a really, really useful weapon against enemies. The other problem, though, or the only problem, is if Dark Esau ever touches you, you get turned into the Lost for the rest of the floor without the Holy Mantle.
Oh my god.
So you have to manage to basically do an entire floor. Either you don't get hit by him, like Dark Esau, or you don't get hit again for the rest of the floor. And there's like some really interesting things you can do with playing around as the Lost, because you do have Spectral, you do have Flying, and you can take a Devil Deal for free. So that's all of those are like kind of nice. So what's like more advanced Isaac players will do is they'll intentionally get hit in certain places just to make sure that they can get the most out of each floor.
Yeah.
The issue is the reason Esau Jr. is so hard is because he is beating the Beast with Tainted Esau. And Tainted, that fight is very long, and there's a lot of the screen space gets used up by either the bosses or by like obstacles. So dodging both the enemy boss things and the Esau that's trying to kill you becomes very, very, very challenging. Especially because there's one part of the map where the screen starts moving to the left, and then as that's happening, like Esau Jr. can like go off camera but still charge in. So you have to like keep track of where he is. You have to have like a relatively good sense of timing to know when he's going to attack you. So all of those things make that fight and that achievement really challenging. But honestly, like I mentioned, while those achievements are really challenging, they are really fun. I like them.
Okay, that's good. Damn, alright. So do you think that this... Well, let's say Esau Jr., just because it is like the one that is more individual and separated from the rest. Do you think it deserves its place as the rarest?
It's probably up there. Some people might choose something like I'm surprised that it's specifically the Beast unlock and not something like, I think, Torn Card.
Okay.
What's Torn Card? I want to check something. Anima Sola.
It's all good.
Anima Sola is beating Delirium as Tainted Jacob. I think that one would probably be slightly harder. It's still one of the rare achievements globally. It's like top 10, top 15.
Oh yeah, okay. So that's
that one's pretty hard to get.
So apparently that is number 11 according to Steam.
Torn Card is really challenging. That's defeating Mother as Tainted Lazarus.
Okay.
I'll talk about that a little bit. I kind of want to talk about that a little bit more with like some of the fun achievements, like really fun achievements that I kind of really liked. That were really unique. But I think most of the ones that are like up there, Soul of Lazarus is really hard. Found Soul is beating Delirium with Tainted Lost.
Okay.
So overall, it's Mother with Tainted Jacob. Lost Soul, I think, is Tainted Lost. I know the two, like the rarest achievements, like character-based achievements, are the ones with Tainted Lazarus and Tainted Jacob, because both of those kind of not late, but like a bit into the lifespan of Repentance, they both got reworks to make them actually playable, basically.
Okay.
Before then, they were really challenging and basically had no upsides. And like, for example, with Tainted Jacob, you could kill Dark Esau. But what that would mean is he would explode and do damage in the room, but also guaranteed to turn you into the, like, Lost Without Mantle.
Yeah.
Which, you know, okay, great. He just makes sure that he doesn't take damage. But he would be taking contact damage as he charged through enemies. And if he charged through a boss, he would take a lot of damage. So you would just, like, get bombed immediately. And then Tainted Lazarus.
Lovely.
Tainted Lazarus, just his old form, you couldn't really do anything of value with him. He basically played as two characters that each got half items. So you're just always very weak. There was not much reason to play him, other than, you know, the unlocks. But I chose to wait until after their changes, just because I didn't want to subject myself to the misery that would be dealing with that. So, like, they changed those two characters. So I guess that's why they're relatively rare compared to the Tainted Lost achievements. The other thing with Tainted Lost is everyone wants to play Tainted Lost because they're like, oh, this character's so hard. And he has a really fun upside too. But like, the fact that he can't get any items and he can't get health items is really fun about the Tainted Lost. But it does... Yeah, it does mean, like, he's still hard, but he's very fun. But yeah,
that's good.
Tainted Jacob and Tainted Lazarus were both super bad on release. Felt really bad to play on release, and they got changed. So I understand why they're, like, so relatively low. And they're still very difficult characters. Like, don't get me wrong. Sure, Tainted Lost can be challenging, but Tainted Lazarus and Tainted Jacob can definitely fuck your shit up. Oh my god.
Oh, lovely. Okay. So in that case, because I'm amazed at how many of these just have, like, a story or a longer section about them, because so many of these, like, when I do it with other people, it's just like, oh, this one, move on. But I love the passion, I love the stories behind these, and I think it speaks to the game's quality.
Yeah.
Now, this is going to be an interesting one. What was the most memorable for you? Because you shared so many stories, but I'm curious if there's one that stands out above the rest, like, bar none.
The most memorable achievement I got. Let me see what notes I have. Okay, I'll talk about that when we talk about soft locks, because that one's just kind of a funny little story. But I think what really embodies what I love so much about Isaac was this one challenge called Bloody Mary.
Okay.
The way Bloody Mary works is you cannot get any soul hearts, and you only have red health. But at the beginning of each floor, you lose all but one of your red hearts. And proportional to that damage that you took, you get a damage up. So it's not catastrophic in the first few floors, because in the first few floors you only take half a heart of damage. But once you get into the womb and then Sheol, which is the final, like, where you beat Satan, that's where things get spicy, because every enemy in the womb and in Sheol does 1 heart of damage. So you have to be really careful, especially at the beginning of the floor, before you find any health. What happened was I had made it to Shoal in that challenge, and
Okay.
I just needed to beat Satan.
Okay.
And the thing is, I got hit by the bloody cross, and I'm 1 heart. I'm like, okay, we got this. This is doable. And both paths that I went first didn't give me a heart, and they dead ended. So I'm like, okay, I have to go to this third route that I wanted to avoid at all costs, because it's a very small room. You have, like, instead of being the full screen room, it's like a half screen room.
Okay.
And when I went in, it was one of the worst things I could have seen. It was a very small room with 3 hosts. And
Okay.
hosts are interesting because when they're, like, closed, they don't take any damage. They don't do damage unless you, like, walk into them, but, you know, it's relatively easy to not walk into them. They're not moving.
Okay. Fair.
So when they're closed, they don't take any damage. When they're open, they shoot out in a little, like, pattern of 3. So it's like a little tri-shot. So you have to dodge. It's not, like, it can be a little bit tricky, but it's not the end of the world, right? Like, you just have to sidestep it, like, make a small sidestep, and you, like, just don't get hit by that tri-shot. The issue really becomes the issue really comes in when there's multiple hosts. So I walk into this room, I'm feeling a bit spooked, and I see 1 host in my left corner and 1 host in the center of the room. And I can't kill them yet because they're closed. They are only vulnerable to being shot at when they're open, but when they're open, they're shooting you.
Okay.
So what you have to do is you have to, like, risk yourself, because you're kind of, like, playing chicken with the enemy attack. Being like, okay, I need to get in as much damage while the host is open and then dodge and survive.
Okay.
The thing that also made it tricky was, again, since this is a really small room, I didn't really have any space to dodge, and there was no cover I could hide behind. And what ended up happening was, since I was so close to both of them, I aggroed both at the same time. Just like on spawn. And I have 3 shots coming at me from the left and 3 shots coming at me from the top at the same time. In a tiny room, no space to dodge, and somehow, I do not know, like, if Neo just came into me and just, like, I am now your hands right now, my son.
Okay.
I managed to dodge all of the shots that they shot at me. That was so exhilarating, just because I don't know how I managed to do that. It was completely, like, muscle memory, completely just instinctual dodging all of the shots, and I managed to survive that room, and thank God that room also dropped me a heart. And when I finished that room, that was when, like, okay, I'm beating this challenge. And I did beat the challenge. I, like, went through, I didn't take any damage against Satan, and I was just like, that really cemented for me why I like Isaac, because I remembered back when I was just starting the game, I remembered fucking hating hosts. I was like,
Okay.
hosts are complete bullshit. How is anyone supposed to dodge them? I hate them all.
Yeah.
But I had just done something that, like, me from 5 years prior would have considered literally wizardry or something. Completely incomprehensible. And in that moment, I realized, like, holy shit, this game, I've really become so much more skilled and so much more dexterous with my fingers that I can, like, do this type of dodging. And that was really, like, such a memorable, such an important part of that Isaac experience, you know, just
That's awesome.
really feeling like I have improved at something.
Yeah.
So
That's really nice to just see that kind of progression, that growth, and being able to bypass a challenge that gave you so much trouble early on.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's awesome. Wow, that's super wholesome. That is not what I was expecting out of a game like this.
Especially not
Okay.
one where the challenge is also called Bloody Mary. So, you know.
Oh, God.
So.
Of course it was. Okay. This might be a hard one as well. I think all of these are going to be hard, just the sheer number that you have to deal with. Is there an achievement you would remove from the game?
Yeah, absolutely. There's.
Okay, here we go.
There's specifically 2 achievements that I really don't like because they're really RNG based. Like, despite the fact that, you know, it's a roguelike, the whole point of it is just so much randomness. There's always that sense that you can get, like, you can just be good enough. Like, you can have that skill solution, you know? Like, you're going to be able to do something. Even if you're getting, like, the worst items, the worst damage, if you're just able to dodge well enough, you're going to win eventually.
Okay.
But these 2 are really frustrating in the sense that there's a lot of stuff you can't dodge. So these 2 are called It's the Key and Zip. So Zip is really frustrating because you have to beat the lamb in 20 minutes. And the lamb is 10 floors in to the game.
Oh, lovely.
So you have 2 minutes per floor. The thing is, you know, like you do the basement, you can do the whole basement in 2 minutes. You can do basement 1, basement 2 in 2 minutes. Easy peasy. In fact, there's an achievement part of an achievement that requires you beating like basement 1 in under a minute. So it's all, like, it's possible to do the first 2 floors in 2 minutes. The problem is, then you get to the depths, or you get to the womb, or in utero, or you get to Sheol, or you get to, you know, the dark room where the lamb is. And all of those are really massive, sprawling maps.
Yeah.
And if you just go the wrong way on any of those, unless you're absolutely ridiculously broken, and you just got fantastic RNG with, like, the items you get, you basically just wasted 20 minutes.
Oh.
Like, there's ways, like, there's certain characters that make it slightly easier, like Azazel. And there are certain fun little strategies, like, there's a room called the sacrifice room, where you can sacrifice health. And if you sacrifice 13 health, you'll immediately be teleported to the dark room.
Oh, God.
And I think it's like 7 and 9 health that you sacrifice, so you can fight an angel, and those will drop like angel room items, which can be really good. So you can get, like, lucky in that sense, but then again, you still have to have enough health to sacrifice, and then you're still going to go into the dark room with only like 2 or 3 items, which is scary. So generally, all of that, like, there's not, in my, like, when I did it, I just felt like I only got it because I got lucky with the items that I spawned. It didn't really feel like it was a skill achievement for me. I just, I got enough items, like the right items, to be able to clear out the entire floor in the entire game in 20 minutes. To me, part of that skill is being able to build up, like, be able to use the time to make yourself powerful. Like, that, there it is a skill in, like, being able to know, okay, this is where the rooms are, this is how I can farm to get, like, enough stuff to be able to do certain things, etc. And, like, you can get certain items. But with beating the lamb in 20 minutes, you're just, you're taking out a lot of the skillful play of it and relying more on the RNG, and that's not something I like. And then
no, RNG's never fun.
And the other one that I hated was It's the Key, and that's the one that I cheated on a little bit. Like,
so
like, sure, I exploited that one bug with Esau, but I still think that was like really, like, there's still skill involved in that. But with It's the Key, the way that works is you have as much time as you want.
Okay.
Nothing about it is harder except for the fact that the only pickup you can pick up, like the only consumable you can get, are keys, which is fine, right? Like, bombs are just a nice thing that you can have, but you can make do without them. Coins, I've done whole runs where I don't buy anything in the shop. It's fine. Okay. Keys are great because you can open, stuff like the libraries. You can open stuff like item rooms. You can get a bunch of stuff. But with the reason I had to cheat a little bit, I installed a mod that removed every other pickup in the game. Because sometimes what can happen is, just due to random chance, something like a coin can get knocked into, or like it can drop right on top of the door. So you just you just can't leave the room. You can't bomb the coin away because you don't have bombs. You can't leave the room. So basically, if it happens late into the run, you just wasted a bunch of time not doing, like, avoiding every single pickup and not being able to progress, because if I go through there, I pick up the coin and then I pick something up. So sometimes, just through no fault of your own, you can end up unable to progress. Right?
Oh, that sounds awful.
Like, I guess you could technically have, calculated the vectors and thought about how that troll bomb was going to knock the coin right into... Doesn't... It's not really like... Yeah. Some things, it's just, how are you supposed to plan around this? So... When that happened, I was like, okay, I'm just not doing this. And I just installed the mod to remove every other consumable, because it happened to me like multiple times. I was just like, fuck this. So those are really those two are really not, like, it's not just not fun, it's just there's not really like any story you can get to them. There's not really like, I just played so well because I managed to dodge that coin. It's like, it's on the ground, it's not moving. Like, it's great, amazing. I don't know. It's just a bad achievement in my opinion.
No, that's fair. And I mean, with over 600 of them, you're bound to get one or two stinkers.
Yeah. There's also, I think, we can talk about that when we talk about the, like, rewarding achievements, because there's a couple that are kind of, I don't know, or I guess we can just talk about it right now.
It's just up to you, man. Whatever you want to do.
There's these, there are some achievements that you can get for beating Mega Satan. And the ones you get for beating Mega Satan with the tainted characters are fantastic. Some of the best unlocks in the game. Beating Mega Satan with the normal characters is a complete waste of time. You get a skin for when you play co-op. No one plays co-op.
So I imagine it'd be kind of hard,
So it's like, why am I even getting, like, it's a really challenging achievement to get, because you have to jump through a bunch of hoops. You have to get, like, you have to get angel rooms, you have to fight the angels, you have to get the key pieces, you have to do all of this other, and then you have to fight a really fun boss. Don't get me wrong, I love fighting Mega Satan, but he's very challenging. And then all you get for all of that effort is a skin for a game mode no one plays. It's like, okay. So those are like some really unrewarding achievements, and that's like 17 achievements.
Oh my god.
So yeah, but for the most part, even like I wouldn't. Other than those, I think basically everything else is just. Oh, there was one that was gulp, where you have to get 5 of the same pill in a run, but you just have to get really lucky with the pills you get. There's basically no way to force pill drops other than there's like one item that can help you, but then you also have to get lucky with trinket drops. It gets really challenging to make that one work. That one is also kind of RNG based. You don't really have much.
Oh, lovely.
You don't have much control over it. I got really frustrated with that one.
Yeah.
But I didn't like. I refused to just like cheat an achievement in. I did not want to do that. I just wanted to like get the achievements.
Mm-hmm.
So I still did like a dozen runs to get that one.
Oh my god.
But like the nice thing is that one I could do while doing another achievement. So I was like working on that one simultaneously with like trying to get character achievements. So that made it at least possible. But just the grind was so frustrating.
Okay, that's fair. So this one feels kind of redundant at this point. Just again, the sheer number of the this format was not designed for a game like this. Is there an action or way of playing that there should be an official achievement for, but there is not currently?
Not really. The only
Fair.
And the only thing could be for the game has when you launch the game. When you launch the game, you get 3 save files.
Mm-hmm.
There are some people who have gone dead god on all 3 save files, and you get a nice nice little skin on your like intro thing, your like login screen, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
I could see there being an achievement for that, but at the same time, it feels kind of BM to be like, okay, now do all of these 637 achievements 2 more times. I don't know.
Okay.
But yeah, if you get like the only other thing I could say would be like dead god on 3 save files.
Interesting. Okay. That strikes me as a hell of a lot.
Yeah. It's pretty psychotic behavior, and I don't know.
Do you have dead god on all 3 save files?
I do not, but I have been.
Okay.
I've been thinking about it.
Oh god.
The addiction.
You are insane.
I probably shouldn't though.
So, are you able to soft lock yourself out of any like any achievements, like specifically, not the game itself, but like a particular achievement?
There's not really like, no, there's not really. There's no way to soft lock yourself. There's one thing you can't like. There's like in a specific run you can't usually get all achievements for a character.
Okay. Yeah.
There's one character though that's very funny. That character is called Tainted Cain.
Okay.
And he's basically Minecraft Steve. He can craft he can craft any item in the game as long as you've unlocked it.
Oh my god. Yeah.
So one of the items in the game is called the Archie, and what that does is it just restarts your game. So it just takes you back to the first floor, and you keep all of the items that you have. Very fun. The funny thing about that item is you can beat a boss and you'll get the achievement for beating the boss, but you don't necessarily have to end the game right there. There's still stuff you can technically do. So, for example, if you go to the chest or the dark room, you can beat the lamb and then leave and go do some, like, go beat Mega Satan. So in the same run, you can beat 2 bosses.
Oh.
However, with something like with Tainted Cain, with the Archie, you can teleport yourself back to the start, and instead of going down the dark room path, you go the chest path, or you go the mother path. All of those work.
Okay.
So I did that. It was a 5 or 6 hour run. I was like, I could feel my brain matter leaking out my ears after the end of it.
Oh no!
It was exhausting. But the thing about that achievement, there's 2 bosses that you can't quite do that on.
Yeah.
One of them is the beast. As soon as you kill the beast, the game ends. Like, you'll get the end game cutscene. And then the other one is Mega Satan, where if you beat Mega Satan, there's a 50-50 chance that you get a portal to go to a different boss, or you get the end of the game.
Oh wow, okay.
So what I did is I managed to get all of the bosses, and then I left just Mega Satan and the Beast for last. And I'm very sad about this. Like, I beat the Mega Satan because obviously I did. I had gone through the game like 5 times already.
Yeah, fair.
And unfortunately, I did not get the portal to let me restart the game.
Oh no.
I was not able to beat Mega Satan and the Beast, so I had to do 2 runs of
that
Tainted
sucks.
King. So that was pretty sad. I still have some of the VODs from that one though. Like, I managed to save those too, but most of my other VODs are gone, sadly. So
that's too bad.
But I'll send you like some clips of me losing my mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Please do.
Just like it's ridiculous. Like, that boss fight, I just walked in, I pressed my W key, and then all of a sudden the screen is just completely filled up. I don't know what's happening, but somehow I won. So, yay.
Oh wow, okay.
But like, that's the closest thing to a soft lock in the game. Like, not being able to restart, which, not the most exciting thing.
Fair. Okay. Yeah, that sounds rough. Oh my god. This is why I don't get roguelikes. Like, everything can be ruined just at the snap of your fingers.
But that's what's fun about it, right? Like, the fact that sure, there is that RNG, but at the same time, it's like a lot of the skill about roguelikes comes not just from like being able to play with the RNG or like being able to play around it, but being able to manipulate it and like plan out how to like deal with that loss. It's kind of like poker or blackjack, right? Like,
I guess I'm just not that much of a psychopath.
Yeah, fair. Like, counting cards gives you like a 1% edge over the house or something.
True.
It's finding that edge, which is what makes roguelikes fun, in my opinion.
All right, hey, fair enough. To each their own. So, how many times do you need to play the game to get all achievements? Like, just a rough guess.
Okay, so there's like 40 challenges. And then there's, I think I remember seeing a calculation at some point somewhere, but I don't remember the number exactly. 40-ish challenges. Then there's 34 total characters, and each one has to beat 12 bosses. Well, sometimes you can get like away with just combining them. So let's just say on average you have to beat 10 bosses per character. So that's 340 runs.
Jesus Christ.
Plus the original, plus the 40 challenges ish. So that's 380. Then you have to do. What else can you do? There's a few before you can even unlock. There's like 10 or so runs you have to do 20 runs you have to do before you get into like the bulk of the game and unlock like some of the end game bosses. Just it's like game design just to like avoid the player, like as soon as they get into the game, it's like, oh my god, I have to like go through 20 floors, and how am I going to do this? I can barely get through floor 2. So that there's that, but generally I would probably say you probably need around 450 runs minimum to beat the game.
Oh wow, okay.
Is
But that would be like if you get the best RNG ever, you plan everything out from start to finish, and like it goes perfectly.
Yeah, basically.
Okay. That sounds like absolute hell.
Which again, that's why like that one, like the fastest possible run was 383 hours or something, right?
Yeah.
That's because you have to obviously be really good at the game, but basically every single run you make has to be played perfectly. Like you cannot mess up.
God, that sounds awful. That sounds terrible.
For some people, I think it's probably pretty bad, but some people, I mean, you've seen speedrunners. Speedrunners are all crazy, so.
This is true. This is very true, and I don't get it. I don't understand. I am not here for this.
Speedrunning and roguelikes are similar in some ways. Like
and you both belong in an institution.
just like being able to exploit glitches and stuff, yeah. It's pretty psychotic.
Okay, so this one is one I've been waiting for, and this one is one you've talked about. Does the game reward you for getting all achievements, specifically all achievements? We'll get into, like, do the individual achievements feel rewarding in the next one, but is there a tangible reward for getting all achievements?
Yeah, I mean, like, so I'm not going to count Dead God, because Dead God being, like, the last achievement that is just, like, you have gotten literally every single achievement is kind of a moot point. But, like, Death Certificate is a fantastic item. It lets you pick up whatever items you want.
Okay.
Like, it just teleports you to a room where every single item in the game has spawned, and you can pick up a bunch of items, and it's pretty great. So
that's awesome.
It makes the game, like, I'm not the biggest fan of the item, just because, like, oh great, I get to choose like the most broken item, but the fact that you can choose to pick up any item that you want is pretty cool, I think. Like, it's a really interesting way to reward people. It's like, okay, you have all of this, you've done all of this work, you've put in all this effort, you are going to get the chance to just get whatever the hell you want in the game. So that would probably be, like, yeah, it's pretty rewarding. And also just that sense, seeing that little, like, on your save file, you see the Dead God image, and you're just like, oh, wow, I'm so good at this game. Because you have that Dead God image. It's just a skin.
You're wearing God's skin?
No. It's just like a skin for, like, the game. It's just like a skin for, like, the save file. It's a little picture.
Yeah,
of it.
okay.
But it does feel very satisfying to see that, because, I mean, it's what, like 3% of Steam users have it or something.
Okay.
It's like, awesome. I am the 5%.
Yeah, most people go for I am the 1%, but yeah, if you want to be the 5%, go for it.
I mean, I used to be the 1%, because I got it, like, when Dead God was still about 1%, maybe 2% of people had it.
Okay.
But now more people have gotten it, so I am no longer that, like, exclusive club.
Okay, that's fair. So this is the one that you've been hinting at for a little while, and that I really wanted to get to. Do the achievements feel rewarding?
Absolutely. Like, there are some achievements that, obviously, like in the 600 plus achievements, there's some that are just like, oh great, I got sticky nickels, which just basically you can't pick up, like it spawns a nickel, but you can't pick it up. Great.
Mm-hmm.
Or like, there's some that just make the game harder. The achievements just everything is terrible. And also those like Mega Satan baby unlocks. But in general, basically every achievement you get, almost all of the super fun items in the game are behind some achievement. Like stuff like rubber cement has some fantastic synergies with other things, and you have to, I don't remember what the unlock condition is exactly, but it is an achievement, and it's just like, one of the great things about the game is there's so much synergy between those items, right? Like there are hard-coded synergies in the game. So like something like brimstone plus rubber cement, all of a sudden you have a blood laser shooting all over the screen, and you're just like, what is happening? And it's just ridiculous. Or there's certain continuum, which makes it so that tears can like wrap around the screen. All of these things are these items that you cannot get unless you like play and get those achievements. Or even some of the like sillier unlocks. There's one one card called Suicide King, which you're like, why? Basically, the card kills you. So that's what it does.
Okay, is there a point to this card?
It drops a bunch of, like, as soon as you die, you drop bunch of consumables that you can pick up. If you're
Okay,
not.
then.
But since you're dead, you can't really use it unless
Oh no.
you have a revive. Like
Okay.
like Dead Cat. Or Guppy's Collar. I forgot about Guppy's Collar. Guppy's Collar is the other Guppy item.
All right then.
The funny thing, like that achievement is funny because you get it from a challenge called King.
Yeah.
And you basically you spawn with Ipecac and My Reflection, and Ipecac basically shoots out a bomb tier.
Yeah.
And My Reflection makes all of the tiers that shoot out come back to you. So like you're basically throwing out bombs that come back and hit you. So it's really funny.
Okay then.
So just like even like the sillier items come from like more silly achievements, so it feels commensurate for the skill. And then obviously stuff like Anima Sola is a fantastic unlock. It's not just useful for Tainted Jacob. You can use it to like completely freeze bosses. Stuff like Birthright is fantastic because it basically changes how every single character plays. It gives them a complete change. All of these items are really, like, so many things are only going to be possible if you unlock them. I should just like open up the list of items at this point and just like mention it. Like, let's see, the dice items are pretty good. Head of Krampus is super fun. It used to be more fun. It used to be completely broken, but now it's still really fun. Kamikaze's hilarious actually, but that's not an unlock. Stuff like something like the Bible, which can instantly kill Mom's foot or Mom's heart. Super useful if you're like in a kind of weak run or if you don't feel confident about it yet. And then if you want to be really funny, spoilers for anyone who wants to not hear any more spoilers, I guess. If you use the Bible against Satan, you instantly die. He just kills you.
Huh?
Yeah, I mean, Satan doesn't really like it when you show him the Bible, so he just like instantly kills you. You don't even get to fight him.
All right then.
Yeah, like so many items. Mega Blast. You just get to shoot like you get to feel like Mega Satan for a little bit. So many items.
Okay then.
so many items are just ridiculous and change the way the game feels.
Mm-hmm.
So I really love that about the game. Just, I mean, even something like stopwatch, right? Like that is such a strong item in the game because it slows down every enemy. So it just makes the game easier.
Okay.
That's
awesome.
The actual achievements. There's like even the most, like even Zip and whatchamacallit, it's the key. Those achievements still, even though they were like so frustrating, they still gave out some really good items or like really good cards.
Okay. That's awesome. I really appreciate when achievements like have a tangible reward.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of games where they don't. Oh god, there's a lot of games where they don't. Okay.
For sure.
Okay, I gotta ask, is this game a solo dev thing or is this a dev team? 'Cause I know you mentioned the Mr. McMillan.
Yeah, so that of Peace, Edmund McMillan with his of Peace game, there's it's a whole copy pasta. There was apparently a German guy got drunk on a completely new Twitter account, and he just tagged Edmund McMillan, and it was just I hope you die and reincarnate as a cow on a trash farm. It's really funny.
Huh?
So it just got turned into a community meme. Edmund McMillan responded to it, and he's really turned it into a whole thing. But so the original game, with his Trash Isaac, the Flash Isaac, I think it was a solo thing. Maybe it was
Okay.
it might have been with Tyrone. I don't remember if Tyrone started on it. And then once we got into Rebirth, once it's a more fleshed out game, then there was a small dev team. It's still not 5,000 people or anything, but it is a team.
Okay.
And in particular, Repentance actually took a lot of inspiration and a lot of things from some of the mod creators. Some of the mod creators from Afterbirth and Afterbirth Plus actually got kind of pulled into that development, and those mods, elements from those mods became official content in Isaac.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay.
So all of those are really cool. And yeah, even in Afterbirth Plus, one of the things about it that was kind of nice was it added mod support. That's where mod support was added, and some items, some really good items in the game that are official were added originally as mods and then got pulled and added as official items for those people. So all of that's really cool. But at this point, it's not a completely solo project. Though it is still the brainchild, and Edmund McMillan is still pretty involved in it.
Fair. So, with that being said, does it feel like these devs, McMillan and company, cared about the achievements they were putting in their game?
Absolutely. Edmund McMillan has said that part of the game is based on his own personal childhood trauma with religious trauma, being in a zealously religious household. So it is absolutely evident in both the irreverence he has for religion, but also kind of just the way the child is trying to escape, the way they see the world. A lot of if you look at the game through the lens of this is a child trying to escape from trauma, you can see how the game is really important to Edmund McMillan. And the fact of the matter is, yeah, the achievements really feel like they are you're not getting achievements that are kind of haphazardly placed. Items or achievements will be based on that character's gameplay. like for example Anima Sola or Esau Jr., which spawn, your Dark Esau,
Yeah.
or something like like Godhead once you've basically gotten the old 100%, but then it just became like once you've beaten all, like with every character you've beaten the lamb and the blue baby. So
okay.
like a lot of these achievements really feel like they put in a lot of effort into really respecting the identity of the character, like making sure that this makes sense within the like lore of the character, as well as the like to some degree biblical lore related to that character. And some of them are also just like an homage to some of the games that inspired Isaac as well. Like so many things are just homages. Like it definitely feels like the devs put in a lot of effort to make sure that everyone's achievements were really well designed.
Okay, no, that's great. That's really nice to hear, because I know a lot of companies don't care. A lot of developers don't care, and it's refreshing but overwhelming at the same time.
Yeah, like I know there's so many games where it's just like your achievements are beat the game, pick up everything, move on with your life. But here the achievements are like really, there's achievements for basic, like for every character. There's a dozen achievements for every character. And all of those achievements really do feel personalized to that character. Even unlocking those characters makes sense. Like for example, Judas, you have to, or Azazel, you have to like pick up 3 Devil Room deals. Judas, you have to kill Satan, which kind of makes sense, like defeating that original like evil that kind of ended up killing Jesus or whatever. And he starts with 3 coins, which is also kind of like interesting. Or Cain, who is, supposed to be so lucky in the Bible because he was cursed by God. So how do you unlock him? You have to pick up a bunch of money. Like he has, like that's how you unlock Cain. So there's all of these things that are just, this makes sense to try to get.
Okay. So this next one's a little weird. So obviously you've talked about how you do have to get all the, 100%, get all the items and everything. But I was looking it up, and there are multiple 100% achievements for kind of each iteration or version of the game. So do you know how many 100% achievements there are, including the one that says 1001%?
Yeah, there was what originally would have been like the 100% for what was just Rebirth. I think you also got like a special one for what would have been 100% in Flash Isaac, but then like ported it over to Rebirth. So it's still not 100% relative to like what Rebirth had, but 100% relative to the previous games. And then there's like Platinum God and Real Platinum God, and like Just Stop Playing or whatever. I think that's just a tagline for it. Several of them are just like that iteration, like, okay, this was all achievements in Rebirth, and then all achievements in Afterbirth, then all achievements in Afterbirth Plus, and then all achievements in Repentance was Dead God. Platinum God,
That's a lot.
Platinum God, I think, was the Rebirth one, and then Real Platinum God was Afterbirth, I think. I could be misremembering though.
That's crazy. I can't believe in it. I'm still trying to wrap my head around the fact that the game has more than one 100% achievement.
Yeah, I mean it's from like a previous time before that like all of those other achievements got added on, right?
No, and it makes sense. It makes sense. So I guess just classifying Isaac in like the roguelike genre, do these achievements, outside of the sheer number of them, feel unique to that genre?
Um, it's an interesting question because like Isaac alongside, obviously Rogue, which kind of defined the whole idea of a roguelike, but no one's really played Rogue at this point.
Fair.
But Isaac and Spelunky both kind of defined the roguelike genre in modern day.
Okay. Yeah.
So, like, I'd say that they are really unique in the sense that, like, if you've played other roguelikes, you might say, oh, well, this isn't super unique. But every other roguelike has copied elements from either Spelunky or from Isaac. Like, these two are the two big boys in the roguelike space. Like, Isaac popularized the genre in a very big way. I do think, though, that the idea of these many achievements and so many unique achievements is something that a lot of roguelike developers have tried to strive for, to like emulate. Some of them have done better than others, but I would say that probably, yeah, I mean, Isaac is unique in the sense that it's kind of like the first one to have done it on this scale, and it's also like the first one to have done it for this genre, or like one of the first to do it for this genre.
Okay.
So I don't know. I think that's just a tricky question, just because like Isaac is just so old, right?
That's fair. That is fair. And it kind of, set the standard, which makes it less unique, but then you have to question what, at the time it came out.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's kind of like thinking of, like, is Dark Souls unique? Like Dark Souls 1 unique? In current year, there's so many games. There's, like, obviously the From games, but then there's stuff like Mortal Shell and Lords of the Fallen. All of these games, which are very similar. So would you say, like, oh, well, those are arguably more polished than the original Dark Souls? They're, like... there are aspects of it, the graphics are nicer and stuff, but at the same time, does that make Dark Souls less unique for having been literally the one who created this whole genre, right?
Fair.
So Dark Souls is its own genre, and then Isaac kind of did this.
Funny you should mention Dark Souls. I have a little running kind of rule or pattern on my channel where outside of milestones like 12 and 24, I will do a Souls like every 3 episodes.
Really?
So I've done all the numbered Dark Souls. I've done Elden Ring. I've done Demon Souls. I have not done Bloodborne yet because I didn't get all the achievements in that, but I also found someone else who has. I'm going to do Sekiro. I'll do some other Souls likes, but yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah.
I totally get what you mean.
I'll have to get 100% on Hollow Knight, and then I'll come on.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that game's hard as fuck.
Okay, so this one's going to be an interesting one. Did you use any guides?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
The whole, like, a big part of the game was actually, like, that community that Edmund built. There were certain achievements and certain characters, like, for example, The Lost, where there was a whole, like... The original intent was for everybody to kind of work together as a community to put together the guide to unlock the Lost. Or Edmund was very frustrated with that because data miners just figured it out day one and just published the strats, and he was irritated. But then later down the line, he produced another character called the Forgotten, which he like patched in the steps one at a time once people figured it out. So there was this really big sense of the community working together. As cringe as it is, like Reddit is a really big resource for Isaac, just in the sense of like you might not necessarily get the information on how to get an achievement, but the game doesn't teach you anything basically. Like as soon as you launch the game, and like you get into a run, the intro screen has WASD to move, E to place a bomb, and arrow keys to shoot, and that's basically it. It doesn't tell you how to drop trinkets. It doesn't tell you how to find secret rooms or super secret rooms or that they exist at all. It doesn't tell you about ultra secret rooms. There's a lot of stuff that's just left to the community to figure out. So a lot of those things are meant to be like, hey, you have to get together to kind of figure stuff out. And then obviously there's like stuff like the wiki, which helps you keep track of like, okay, so these are the things that I need or whatnot. It kind of compiles that community research. I say research loosely, but like all the stuff that the community has found out, compiled it there, and then like stuff like platinumgod.co.uk, which just has stats and information about every item in the game, is super useful. It helped a lot when I was doing Tainted Cane because it gave me the crafting recipes because it changes seed by seed.
Oh.
So there's obviously like a bunch of those things were really important. Also, like tinted rocks are a really big part of the game. The game doesn't tell you about them. Like some of them are so hard to find too, because like tinted rocks will be, there's an extra scratch on the rock, and if you don't, like, you'll find it randomly, right? Sometimes you'll just like place a bomb or something and be like, oh wow, I just got soul hearts. Why? I have no fucking clue. But then like over time people realize like, hey, these rocks are slightly different, and if you keep an eye out you can get extra health. And then you have of course a very famous streamer now, the Egg, aka Northern Lion. If you've heard of him. He started with Isaac, and I've been watching on and off Northern Lion for like a decade or something. So he's like, I haven't been watching him religiously, but he was a huge part of the community as well. Like, off of what he figured out, a lot of people were able to like learn new things, and then of course everyone makes fun of him because he doesn't play optimally, as he also simultaneously talks to his chat. But yeah, like he was also like a really big part of me getting to learn the game and learn new tricks about it. And you're like, oh, I can like break the game like this, or oh, this is really cool, I can like do certain strategies to move back and move around so that I can have optimal coin usage or something. So all of those things really helped me learn and get to the point that I am. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, given that again it's a 600 achievement game. It's kind of hard to independently realize like, oh,
that's fair. No, that's absolutely fair.
Especially when a lot of the achievement descriptions are incomprehensible, right? Like, destroy 100 rocks is fine, but then like the parasite, unlocked a new item. The noose, unlocked a new item. It's like, okay, what does this mean? How do I get this? So if you don't know what you're looking for, it's kind of impossible. There are some achievements that it does tell you, like on character select, like for Cain, you need to pick up 55 coins, yay. Or so those are pretty obvious, but something like the Forgotten or the Tainted characters, when they first started coming out, there was like it was really cool to be part of the community. As I didn't post anything obviously because I just lurk everywhere, but like people working together to figure out the exact trick to unlocking the Tainted characters, because you have to like drop a trinket, and then like on the way back you have to pick up the trinket and it has to be the red key, and then all sorts of things. There's not really any explanation on how to do it. So all of those things sure, you could just RNG yourself into figuring out how to do it, but that would probably take you like 3,000 hours at that point.
Yeah, oh god, that sounds awful.
There's a lot of things that the game just doesn't tell you.
So is there like a particular guide you would recommend, or would you just say, hey, go watch Northern Lions' old streams?
Oh dear. Northern Lions' old streams are always entertaining, but not necessarily like in the sense of like you could watch some of Northern Lions' old streams when he started playing like Repentance, because he was also learning alongside everybody else. But if you don't want to listen to the ramblings of the egg, you can, like, I used, like I mentioned, Reddit a lot. Stuff like, there's one type of room called the ultra secret room that is not connected to any of the rooms on the main map. So you have to use like special like map generation understanding to like figure out exactly how it's connected and how to find it. All of that stuff were things that people either like data mined or spent a really long time experimenting by themselves. And then there's like the wiki as well, which compiles all the information. And platinumgod.co.uk is also fantastic for like knowing what items do, what they are, knowing the item, like in-game item IDs, which can be useful if you decide to cheat. Don't do that, but if you want to.
Yeah.
All of those things are pretty useful, I think.
Okay, that's fair. That's good. I will make sure to link those in the description down below for those of you who are interested. If you are, you're a psychopath, and hey, welcome to the club. Has this changed the way you look at the game and like now? And do you regret doing all this?
I don't regret it. There are things that I'm just like, oh wow, this f***ing sucked. Why am I doing this? But like I managed to spend a lot of time with friends. Like it was really fun getting to talk to them about just like being betrayed by RNGs. It's like, why would you do this to me? Why would you jam the machine after one? And like being able to like see the memes that are created around it is always really funny. The other thing is like it wasn't like 1,000 hours done in 50 days. Like it was like 1,000 hours over like several years of gaming, and it was something that I did. Like I would come home after school for a while, like for several hundred hours. I wasn't even really going for achievements. I was just sitting down, playing, just kind of doing something really basic. Maybe I go for an achievement today, maybe I don't. It's not super important. Like in some ways it changed the way I like interact with games in general, because like on one like I don't really think I'm gonna find another game that I like, another single player game that I sink 1,000 hours plus into again.
That's fair.
Those are just really rare. So for some time I was just kind of like, what's the point of playing games if you're not going to sink 1,000 hours? Like, why would I buy a $50 or $60 game if I'm only going to play for 60 hours, while I bought like Isaac for like a total of $30 or something, and I got 1,000 hours. But then what I started realizing was like it helped me understand the way games, like the value that games have and how they differ between genre to genre, right? Like it's kind of like saying like, sure, I could watch 10 hours of paint drying for $15 on Blu-ray or something, or I could watch something like Oppenheimer or Citizen Kane, right? Like really good movies that are genre defining or whatnot. And it's like it made me realize just because you're sinking a bunch of time into it doesn't mean that it's necessarily good. Not to say that Isaac isn't good, but like I don't need that time sink for it to be worth my time and money. I can just like start, like, I can appreciate other games for other things as a result of it. Like after that post Isaac depression period, if you will. And then the other thing was like, it also kind of made me more confident with video games in particular. It's like, I don't need to prove myself by getting 100% in every game. I have already like proved myself as a hardcore gamer TM. Like I can do challenging things. At this point I can just be like, I just choose not to sink my time into getting like 100% on certain things just because I don't necessarily want to. It doesn't make me like less of a person who enjoys games. It's just, this is, I now have something that I can be like, this is proof that I can dedicate time and effort to a game, but also like I'm not gonna like give my life over to a game like, I don't know what game in my Steam library. Like I'm not gonna completely sacrifice my life trying to 100% something like Darkwood. I
don't know what that is, but okay then.
Like it's just like another like single player horror game actually.
Okay.
But I don't need to get 100% in that, or maybe something like Metal Gear Solid. Like I don't need to get 100% just because maybe I just don't really want to. But I have that like background, and I know I can if I wanted it to, if I want it badly enough. I just don't care that much. So
No, that's fair.
That really like made me relax with games. I also just kind of, a lot of times I'm just like, I don't need to play the game on hard mode now because I can just like play it on like medium or whatnot.
Yeah.
Just because I don't need to sacrifice my life for something to prove that I can.
All right then. That's awesome. Okay. And finally, arguably one of the most important questions I will be asking this entire time. Would you recommend others go for the all achievements? Why or why not? And what kind of person would enjoy this or maybe hate it?
So, I don't think that it's really, for something as significant as like average time of like 500, 600 hours, I don't think I can say like yes or no. Like I'm not gonna say yes because it's a huge time investment. You're gonna like invest time into it. It's going to take you a lot of effort. I'm also not gonna say no because I've done it. A lot of my friends have done it, or well, 2 of my friends have done it, which is like 50% at this point. But this is just not. It's not really something that I could say like, yes, you really should try it, or no, you really shouldn't. I'll just say like the type of person who would do it is someone who's like, you have to get used to random bullshit. You're not gonna win everything. Like especially at the beginning, it's just gonna be, what the how am I supposed to dodge this? How am I supposed to deal with this? The thing is, so many times that you do say that was bullshit, a lot of times it really is just a skill issue. Like that is something though that I think can be really beautiful, because like I mentioned before, if there is a skill issue, there is a skill solution. You can get better. There's something that you can improve on. So I would say that the type of person who should go for all achievements, A, they have to have time. B, they have to have like that patience to like both sink in the time, but also like to deal with difficult things. And I think it has to be a person who is really willing and excited to know that they're going to get better. Like, you're going to see yourself improve. Like I mentioned with the Bloody Mary challenge story. The things that I was doing at those 600, 800 hours were just, like, if I had teleported my high school self to watch me do that, they would have been completely blown away. Or, like, the decisions I make at a certain, like, at this point in Isaac, with, like, okay, so I'm just going to use this bomb, and I'm going to, like, move this around, and I'm going to do this stuff. My ability to find secret rooms, all of these things are just something that someone with 10 hours is not going to be able to do. So what I would say is, if you do like starting off as, you know, kind of like completely ignorant about something, get thrown into the deep end of the pool, but then you do want to try to swim, try to figure it out, there is, you know, like that community to help you and stuff. But there's also just the fact that eventually, if you do get all achievements, that will be like a mark of your improvement at the game. And like a mark that you were able to learn something difficult, that you were able to like put in a lot of effort, put in a lot of time. And it can also just be like really fun to do. I mean, maybe you do say, you could have learned a language, you could have learned, like, yeah, but there's different values in different things. Just, do you want to relax? Do you want to put in a lot of effort? What do you want to do with your life? So I would just say those are the types of people who would like to play or all achievement Isaac.
Okay. That was very deep and wow. Okay. Well, no, that was awesome. Okay, wow. I knew this episode was going to be long. I did not expect it to be this long, but really, James, thank you so much for coming on here. I genuinely, it's awesome. I mean, thank you so much for your time. I know this was longer than both of us were expecting.
Yeah. I did not think it would go to like the 2.5 hour mark there. I'll be honest.
I am okay with it. With it. You know what? You had stories to tell, and those stories deserve to be heard by like the 5 people who watch my podcast.
It'll be 6 soon. But yeah, I mean, yeah.
And
like,
wait, you weren't watching it already? How dare you?
No, I'm saying like I'll share it to some other people. You know, like I'll be like, hey, watch me like talk about Isaac and say like, I'm just. Why would I do that? And then they're like, oh, so that's why you did it. Why did you do it though? Fair enough. But yeah, like it was a lot of fun getting to talk about some of this stuff. I did not expect it to be 2.5 hours though.
It's all good, man. You had some stuff you wanted to get out. Like that's all good.
You're a good host too. You got me to talk about a lot of stuff.
Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. And thank you, ladies, gentlemen, everyone in between and beyond, so much for being here. It was a long one. If you stuck it out, awesome. If you didn't, you're not hearing this anyway, so what do I care? You can, James, is there any social media links you want me to plug? Do you want to become a YouTube star?
No, not really. Honestly, I don't really do like social media. Really, I should probably start a YouTube channel at some point though, but I don't have one.
Yeah, go for it.
I don't have one right now.
That's all right. So, don't follow James on these socials. He will find you. He will kill you.
Yes.
And I'll bury the body. But we'll leave it there. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Right. Goodbye. Thank y'all.